Hello and welcome to the 2005 World Championships. I'm Randy Buehler. I'm here with Brian David Marshall, and we are looking forward to a battle for the team title. All week long, this is the showdown that everyone was looking for. Team USA has won this title 7 out of 10 times. Japan is the home country. They've established themselves as one of the best countries for Magic. Is this the weekend for their coronation? Is it the weekend where they show the world that they are the land of the risen sun? We are 3 matches away from figuring it out. There's a good look at Neil Reeves. That red neck supports one of the most brilliant minds in Magic. But this matchup may not favor the Americans. There's Masashi Oiso. No question he's one of the best players in the world. Almost won the Player of the Year title this year despite skipping a Pro Tour for school. Whew. What's your pick here, Brian?
Looking at the deck list, I have to favor Oiso.
All right, Oiso.
I think Neil Reeves is the sentimental favorite. Everyone likes to see the guy who guarantees victory actually pull it off.
That is a good point. Neil Reeves, on Tuesday night, I stuck a microphone in his face as part of our podcast. He guaranteed victory. Time to find out. Tell us a little bit about the decks these two guys drafted.
So, John Sonny's got a green-black deck.
Oh, Reeves and Oiso.
Sorry, Neil Reeves. It's been a very long week. Neil Reeves is playing a green-black deck. He's got Last Gasp, but he's got a Disembowel. He's got Netherborn Phalanx. He's got a couple of Siege Worms. His key card here, I think, is going to be his Elvish Skysweeper, which
that could be good.
Can take down the Bell Tower Sphinxes in Oiso's deck. Oiso's playing a mill deck. He did his, I believe, 1 Entrancer. But he's the card that really could be a trouble for him here is Lurking Informants. He's got 2 Lurking Informants, which can really lock Reeves out of the game, and sort of also serve to enact that mill strategy. So, and 2 Bell Tower Sphinxes are really what Neil's going to be keeping an eye on for that Elvish Skysweeper.
Well, no Lurking Informants early from Oiso, but Reeves is struggling anyway. He's got an island in play, basically playing a black-green deck. I'm not sure how many islands he has, but it's certainly not a large number.
He has 1 island in his deck.
That is the island.
He has 2 Dimir Aqueducts as well.
So he's got black cards that he just can't cast. Looking at his hand, he does have Snapping Drake. So
yeah, he's playing a Snapping Drake, and he's playing a Vidalcan Dismisser in his deck.
Well, here comes Snapping Drake, so he's going to get his beat on.
Another big card is Early Trophy Hunter that Neil really identified for this matchup that he wanted. Might be a little hard to, you might not even want to kill the Bell Tower Sphinx, but it's something that's an option for him at some point. He also has Ursipine. Ursipine and Siege Worm play together very nicely. Get you to trample over.
Oiso's got Strands of Undeath, a couple of islands.
And is that a Mortarpede he just put down? Is that a Mortarpede from Oiso? That is a Mortarpede. So he's pretty close to being able to actually lock Neil up with Strands of Undeath on a Mortarpede.
Wow. He can force everybody to block, but he can then regenerate.
Yeah, it's a really potent combo in this draft format. And if you don't have an answer for it right away, it makes it really difficult to play out your guys, makes it really difficult for you to set anything up. And, plus you have to discard 2 cards that were in your hand at some point. So, situation has to be really, really ideal for you to be able to overcome that. Neil does have...
There's Trance of Undeath on the Mortarpede. Neil's actually a little lucky. Masashi's only got 1 black mana so far this game.
He's got Terraformer, though. He's got all the black mana he needs.
Neil's got to decide what to discard.
He's got his Graveshell Scarab in his hand. He's got his Netherborn Phalanx.
You discard the 2 black cards? Oh, he does have Aqueduct, so he has some access to black mana. It's not as bad as I thought. Discarding 2 lands. Still has Siege Worm, Phalanx, and Aqueduct.
He just got a Graveshell Scarab in a land?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Ribbons of Night. That's very good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But he doesn't have black mana this turn.
Nope.
When in doubt, attack.
Gets in there with Snapping Drake and
Yeah.
what's his other creature?
Is that a Trophy Hunter?
Nope.
Sure looks like Trophy Hunter to me. Plays his Aqueduct. He's got Ribbons of Night on hand. Mana available next turn, but if Uso keeps any mana open, he'll be able to regenerate. Won't be able to really deal with the Mortipede. And we have a Dismisser, a Psychic Drain, and Tidewater minion in Uso's hand. So this is gonna be a tough game for Reeves to win. I don't really know what he's gonna be able to do to get out from under this. He might have to kill the Terraformer with the ribbons, keep him from hitting green mana on that Mortipede, and then wait until he draws his last gasp. There's a Psychic Drain in Uiso's deck, and it's in his hand. Probably his Fireball. That's how he probably ends his games. Uiso may not be looking to attack much this game. He might be happy to just sit back on his Mortipede and block and regenerate.
All right, Neil gets to untap. Uiso now has a Tidewater minion on his side of the board. Snapping Drake heads into the red zone.
No.
Knocks Uiso to 12. Ribbons is online now, and so is Disembowel. But Siege Worm is the play from Neil Reeves. Makes sense. It's usually best to if you can, get the threats out first, then follow them up with removal.
That he'll get to cast that Siege Worm again next turn. I think Uiso's just going to dismiss that here.
14, he's at 12, right? 12, 14?
Dismiss is such a heartbreaking card. You really feel like you got the game at hand. You feel like, all right, this is what's going to happen this turn, this turn, this turn, and then you get the Dismisser, and you're like, ah.
Is it that good?
I think it's terrific.
I mean, here it just basically stalls for a turn.
Do you remember playing with Hunting Drake?
Yeah.
This Hunting Drake's all colors of creatures.
But it doesn't fly. It never attacks.
That's fine.
Never attacks anybody.
Ooh, he returns
Dismisses the Snapping Drake. Huh. It's pretty interesting.
That is pretty interesting. I guess he's going to double block Siege Worm here.
Yeah, I think so.
Or, use his Tidewater minion to untap a swamp and regenerate his...
Think Neil will fall for that?
I mean, he might be willing to trade a guy for the Siege Worm. I don't know.
All he gets, it's Mortipede. He trades it for Dismisser?
Yeah, but then he'll be able to Ribbons and Night something.
Yeah.
Guess. Yeah, I mean, the block here is Dismisser plus Mortipede, because the Tidewater minion can tap to untap a swamp and regenerate the Mortipede. Yeah, 2-1 and trample for 2, right?
Yep.
Oops, sorry.
Right. And then he'll be tapped out of black, because as long as he has the minion up, he has access to black. He can Ribbons of Night if he wants a Ribbons of Night.
It's a good point. Yeah, this is a pretty reasonable play, because now Uiso has no access to black mana, and Ribbons can dispatch the Mortivore.
Right.
So it's not great to trade the Siege Worm for the Dismisser, but it does set this up.
Right.
Drawing a card, gaining 4 life, and killing a creature.
Right.
Okay.
Ooh. Drawing an Ursipine.
Cool.
Ursipine and Flares are pretty nice. He's also got a nice little finisher there, the Netherborn Phalanx, if Oiso should build up. But Oiso's will get a little life gain of his own coming.
Okay.
He's got a little life gain of his own coming in the Psychic Drain, so.
Cool.
So he doesn't really have any milling action going on. There's the Snapping Drake, and Convolute stops it.
Yep. Now they probably want to Farseek for Forest there, but you can't do that. With Ursipine in hand.
Sure.
Yep.
Lisa's going to start using the Lurking Informant.
Put it over here. Is that okay? Because of the camera. All the way back? Yeah, I don't need to look at his library, so.
He might not like what he sees.
Lurking Informant. Oiso deciding whether to let Neil draw that card or not.
Man.
Just did justice. Zer's Weirding's its away. We got Zer's Weirding in back-to-back matches here.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, you do get to draw a card. But
Nope. Drop.
Neil gets a fresh card. Gets Ursipine hopefully into play, he's thinking. Gotta be worried about induced paranoia here.
Cool.
Now he's getting 2 cards a turn with the Lurking Informant. And he's got the Tidewire going.
Hmm.
So if you see a land here, you just let him keep it, right?
Yeah.
You don't just go for the flat-out mill and just mill any card you see.
It doesn't seem like he's close enough. Yeah, I think he wants some dead draws here.
But he can only hit about 5 cards with the Psychic Drain right now. Well, he didn't let him have the land. He decided that the land was no good. So we got Last Gasp, Stinkweed, and Oiso's hand is just all
Wow.
good cards.
I'd like to hold some. If anyone can hear me, I'd like to hold some. Can anyone hear me?
What's going on at the back tables there, Randy?
This just in, Antonino DeRosa has won game 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do we know what it was? Was it Galvanic Arcs? Was it Mana Screw? Was it
Don't know, trying to get
Meteor
word.
Strike?
I'm having some communication problems with the spotter on the floor. I'm hoping to be able to ask those questions. I have over and over and over and over and over and over and over again.
So we're trying to find out a little more about what happened in that game.
Can you hear me?
You know, we just dispatched a senior vice president of
To try to sort out our technical problems?
sort out our technical problems, or at least just give us a little spotting. Upper management cares about the fans. So we're still in on Oiso's turn, and he's trying to figure out what he wants to do here. He's got a really gassy hand. He's got Stinkweed Imp, and Last Gasp. So he's played his stink lead in.
No, please. I would like to hold.
Draw.
So we're going to go to the second game of the DeRosa match after this one.
That's the plan.
Oh, that's great. It'll be really exciting to see. Neil's hand is pretty gassy, too. He's got a phalanx, a disembowel, a last gasp, and a court of calling.
Yeah, his hand is awesome.
He can actually court of calling up a dismisser here himself right now. He's got I think, enough mana. So he might be able to set up an endgame where, depending on what Oiso does, he court of callings up a dismisser at the end of the turn and could break through a stalemate. Court of calling for a dismisser is really one of the more exciting plays in Ravnica Limited. I actually had a court of calling where I against Tim McKenna, where I court of calling for a Goliath spider mid-combat. He wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
End of time.
Oh, another result in. Japan has evened it at a game 1 apiece. Ichiro Shimura has taken game 1 from John Sunne.
Neil's choosing the last gasp, the lurking informant.
Yep, nothing Oiso can do
That
about
was
that.
actually disembowel. I'm sorry, that wasn't last gasp. Tap 3 mana.
These are best 2 out of 3 matchups. Not a lot of room for error. Team USA and Japan have split game 1s off camera. Here between 2 of the biggest stars on the stage right now. We're still in game 1. Oiso has managed to stop Neil from attacking, but we know Neil's hand is full of gas. And Oiso really not doing anything to threaten to win.
So he uses the Trophy Hunter on his, and he's going to get his Ursipine last gasped.
Okay, so wow.
Trophy Hunter last gasped as well.
Wow.
Oh my.
Neil had Ursipine. Oiso was just waiting for an opportunity. Neil tapped out to Trophy Hunter down the Stinkweed Nip, which he's got to do there. That's totally the right play, right?
Oh, absolutely. Although he may have wanted to wait a turn. I mean, if he knows about last gasp, I mean,
It's Team Rocket, he knows there's last gasp, but I think he was willing to lose 1 to last gasp.
You're loath to tap all your green, and just always have that. You always want to sort of negate the cards in their hand when you have Ursipine. Last gasp is definitely one of the cards you're sort of always playing around, and especially if you know your opponent has multiples of it.
Well, Oiso saw his window of opportunity, and he had 2 last gasps. Down went Ursipine and Trophy Hunter. Reeves dredges back. That's Graveshell Scarab.
Yes, it is.
Dredges it back and summons it.
So it sounds like DeRosa's Guardian of Vidugazi plan.
Really?
It sounds like he just hurried out a bunch of creatures.
Wow.
And got it direct from Chris Galvin himself, and threw some Guardians of Vidugazi down on the board, and it was more than Morifuji could deal with. They were well out of range of what he could remove.
That was an audible that they called fairly late in the draft, too.
Yep.
All right, well, there's a last gasp from Reeves.
On Tattered Drake.
Down goes Tattered Drake. I guess this Scarab can attack through through the Tidewater minion, right?
Scarab's only a 4/4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. You'll trade here
Yeah,
with the dredge.
absolutely.
Oiso just takes it down to 6.
There's a Siege Worm. We knew he had that. Depending on how Oiso decides to block, he could also Court of Calling up Dismisser as an instant with trample damage. He removes a blocker.
That could be interesting. Not much in Oiso's hand. He's got Psychic Drain and Lurking Informant. He's starting to get nervous enough to just Psychic Drain here. Mill 4, gain 4? That doesn't sound very exciting. Oiso's deck, I don't know. I mean, Reeves' deck just looks better here so far.
I mean, Oiso has Last Gasp twice.
Yeah, and
they've traded removal for removal.
And Neil's still got a 4/4 and a 5/5 in play. Right. Against like a 2/2 that hasn't done a single thing all game,
right.
to my knowledge. A 1/2 and a 4/4 wall.
Right.
Cool.
This game's been very well played by Neil.
I agree. You're okay with that Ursipine turn?
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that Ursipine turn. I mean, he you know, there was another way to play it. I mean, I assume he was just ready for he was assuming that he'd just get back his fatty and start attacking with that.
I think he was willing to lose one of those creatures. I think he was probably surprised to lose both of them.
Right. He assumed
but even still, he knew he had Graveshell Scarab.
He assumed
he would
have a 3/4 Trophy Hunter when it was all said and done, which is perfectly fine.
I guess Dredge is a little scary against the mill deck, but...
How many cards? 16. Thank you.
DeRosa was very excited that Ted Knutson was covering their match. Apparently, he is 10-0 lifetime in matches that are covered by Ted Knutson at the Grand Prix level or higher.
Wow.
He had an incredible string at U.S. Nationals when he really, I mean, it was like, you know how some pitchers have personal catchers? Ted has become his personal coverage guy. He wins when Ted covers him.
Now, Ted's actually sitting down at the match between Neil and Masashi.
Well, this is...
You sure it counts?
I don't know. We'll find out.
So what's Neil's play here?
Featherborn Phalanx. Oiso's at 3.
Not a whole lot Masashi can do about that, right?
No.
He's going to think. He's going to block permission, basically.
Yep. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Does the Scarab have trample?
No. 5/5 and a 4/4 head into the red zone. Masashi Oiso only has 3 life to play with. He's going to line up 2 blockers on the Siege Worm and chump the Scarab. So Siege Worm trades for the Tidewater minion. The Lurking Informant takes 1 for the team, and Masashi Oiso is down to just 1 lonely Terraformer against the Netherborn Phalanx and a Graveshell Scarab.
He's going to have to Psychic Drain here just to stay alive next turn, unless he's drawn something.
And Psychic Drain is exactly what it does. X is 4. Mills for 4. Neil's still got 11 cards left, I believe. Gains 4 life up to 7.
At this point, Reeves' life total can really be counted in cards, so it's really Reeves 11, Oiso 3.
True.